Thank you, CPAC. I'm Jim Banks, United States Senator from the great state of Indiana. I just left the floor of the United States Senate where I cast my vote to confirm Kash Patel to be our next FBI director. It's great to be among so many patriots on this historic day. Today marks the 1 month point exactly that Donald Trump became our president, once again kicking off the golden age of America. Within a short time, we've gotten just a glimpse of the greatness that will define this new era. President Trump has already rooted out massive waste, fraud, and abuse within the federal bureaucracy, crippling the corruption of the deep state. He's directed the largest mass deportation operation in American history, making our communities much safer. And he's removed the "kick me" sign from the backs of our industries and our American workers. Our adversaries and our partners have been put on notice. The era of taking advantage of America is over. While America is heading toward this golden age at warp speed, we also face a troubling reality. There are those within our borders who hate America and are working against our own people. They hate America and everything that she stands for. They aim to break down and degrade everything that sets America apart. While the left has found a multitude of ways to sabotage our institutions, wokeness has become their primary weapon. It's a nuke meant to obliterate our culture and erode American society. Wokeness takes fundamental truths that our civilization is founded upon, and perverts them into ungodly, anti-American lies. That ideology serves as a tool to undermine everything that makes America great: the family unit, faith in God, and historical and biological truths. Putting up a fight against this kind of poison requires courageous action, and that's why all of us are here today. And that's exactly what President Trump has given us on his watch. He's inspired the rise of what I like to call the new right. It's a coalition of conservatives who recognize that the status quo in Washington is failing the working class, steamrolling their best interest. The old Republican Party bowed down to liberal corporate interests and an America Last foreign policy, while ignoring the working class. And ladies and gentlemen, let me declare to you today, that Republican Party is dead. This is no time for wimpy Republicans. The new right merges true conservatism with the interest of the people. President Trump and his administration boldly embody this new Republican Party. This administration had the nerve to stand up against corporate America, the media, the federal bureaucracy, Wall Street, the mainstream culture, the education system, the entire Democrat Party, and even weak Republicans on our side. Speaking on this very stage 2 years ago, President Trump said, quote, "On day one, I will revoke Joe Biden's crazy executive order installing Marxist diversity, equity, and inclusion czars in every federal agency. I will immediately terminate all staffers hired to implement this horrible agenda, end quote. I'd say that President Trump has followed through on that promise and a whole lot more. Despite how extensively DEI polluted our institutions, President Trump, with the swipe of a pen, dismantled this Marxist ideology from the halls of our government. The Education Department under President Trump has been given 14 days to end any practice that treats students differently because of their race or lose federal funding. That is a huge blow to DEI and a massive win for our kids. Maybe most importantly, though, DEI has been uprooted from our military because of Secretary Hegseth and President Trump. Under Joe Biden, our armed forces were wasting precious time and taxpayer resources running social experiments. Do you think that China's military is worried about filling diversity quotas and making sure everybody's pronouns and delusions are respected? Of course not. And as a veteran of the war in Afghanistan, I can tell you that diversity in and of itself provides no strategic advantage. In fact, holding up diversity as some kind of moral virtue is a deadly distraction. Under President Trump, we're rightfully refocusing our military on lethality, because that's what keeps Americans safe. But it's not just the public sector that's purged radical wokeness. Corporate America is also following suit, bending their knee to common sense. Google, Ford, Meta, Walmart, and so many other companies, all those companies are decimating their DEI programs. The culture has shifted away from insanity and back toward objective truth and success based on merit. It's encouraging to know that our young people are a big part of this corporate shift. They've grown up being indoctrinated by all of this woke garbage, but they're the ones who are pushing back the hardest. They understand that DEI is a fundamental attack on the American dream. Let me tell you, as the son of a factory worker who grew up in a trailer park, now serving in the United States Senate, that American dream is very personal to me. It's something that's worth fighting for. I have 3 young daughters, and I want them to inherit an America that values their hard work, not one that prejudges them or bases their value off of identity politics. DEI is the biggest threat to the American dream, but the golden age of America means the death of DEI. Right now, President Trump has his foot on the neck of wokeism and driven a stake through the heart of those who hate America. But let me tell you, Congress needs to do its job. We have to reinforce the successes that President Trump and his administration have accomplished. We need legislation to codify and extend his transformative executive orders. Leaders in both the House and the Senate must partner with President Trump to help get these wins across the finish line and make them permanent. The Anti-Woke Caucus is and has been one of those partners. I'm proud to be the founder of the Anti-Woke Caucus during my time in the House. I've handed off the role to Congresswoman Harriet Hageman from the great state of Wyoming, who now leads that caucus. The Anti-Woke Caucus works to expose the cultural rot introduced by the woke movement and helps to lay the groundwork for much of what the Trump administration is accomplishing today. It stands against the tide and fights for legislation focused on restoring a merit-based society, a society that prioritizes free speech, fiscal responsibility, and the rule of law. And I'd like to mention that a lot of outside organizations, especially the Claremont Institute, have been essential partners in the momentum that we've had. In 2023, the caucus endorsed the Fairness, Anti-Discrimination, Individual Rights, or the FAIR Act, that prohibited federal government from discriminating on the basis of race, color, or national origin. And that same year, the caucus supported an amendment that I provided to the Department of Defense that would have prevented federal funds from being used to hire or pay employees who work on DEI at the Pentagon. That amendment passed the House, but it failed in the Senate. But now that there are new faces in the Senate, I say it's time that we try again. Let me close by saying that this recent election in November was a referendum on the status quo. President Trump has led this country and this town into a new age. This isn't business as usual in Washington. We're entering a time of American prosperity and peace that we have never seen before. It's felt all across the heartland of America. Working people aren't used to their leaders being honest with them or prioritizing their needs. But that's what President Trump and the MAGA movement, the new right, the new Republican Party, have achieved. The cancer of wokeness tried to undermine our national unity and destroy our country, but thank God it failed. We, the people, know what makes this country great. This is the greatest country in the history of the world. It's always worth fighting for, and I look forward to fighting alongside you to keep this country great. Thank you. God bless.
The yeas are